Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey with investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In the previous video we looked at MMTLP and the focus was on the Occupy SEC 2023 protest that I think so far seems to be going very well. So please refer back to the previous video for details of that. In today's video we're going to be looking at FINRA's U3 halt for MMTLP and looking at reasons. Is it still there? Is it or has it been deleted? And what are the reasons for its current status? And we're also going to be continuing with stories part 4, so stay tuned for that. So first of all, let's have a look at what's happening in this week. So this week is a big week, so we do talk about earnings in the Discord. So if you have a look at the screen here, we've noted here that some major stocks are going to be identified for earnings. So I've picked out AMD, Exxon, Pfizer, Marathon, Waste Management, Meta, Amazon, Hershey, and I think the big one that could determine the way the direction of the market is going to be Apple. My personal opinion is I think Apple could beat earnings, and that could have a positive impact on the overall market. But and then finally, before we move on, one other news I'd like to bring you is with regard to a fine that has been given to a certain company. So let's have a look at that. So shout out here to Unusual Whales who've identified this company. They were fined $9 million. So you might think that's a huge fine, but this is a fine that for me or you could be the equivalent of maybe 20 cents. So Citadel Securities were fined nearly $9 million US in Korea for artificially distorting stock prices. An average of 1,422 stocks per day were affected from October 2017 up until May 2018, and they did $406 billion worth of trades. So I wonder how much profit there was. So from that profit of $406 billion, the fine is approximately $9 million. So as a percentage, that is much lower than 1%, much lower. So certainly looks like the authorities are sending out a very strong signal here to Citadel Securities. Just carry on doing as you please. Let's now have a look at what's happening with the U3 halt and MMTLP. So shout out here to Pro Street Art, who's also produces some excellent videos, so go ahead and check them out. So this is the first post I want to share with you, and in terms of the research that he's carried out in a number of stocks, he stated here, I went through all 7 pages of U3 halts. Each page has got 50 tickers, total of 350 tickers. The vast majority of U3 halts were issued with the T3 code, and that T3 code is to resume trading, but obviously we've not had the T3 code. And from the remaining that he's found, only 10 tickers where U3 halted. It was then to be D1 deleted. So these include DGAZF, we've also got DXTRQ, EXGI, amongst a number of others, but what I want to look at is the one that I featured in a previous video, and that was DGAZF. So if we have a look at that here, and you can see on the screen here, this is a stock that I featured previously in a video, and this stock DGAZF went from trading around about $400. Prior to that it was trading around about $150. So if you can imagine what happens next, from $400 it shoots up to in excess of $25,000. It wasn't there for a significant amount of time, but it did squeeze up to $25,000. It did come down to around about $13,000 after that. Surprise there was a U3 halt and that stopped. So let's have a look at the status here, and we can also see here initially the U3 halt was issued on the 12th of August 2020, but after that there was a deletion D1, and that was issued on the 26th of August 2020. So please refer back to the previous video where I covered DGAZF in a lot more detail, and I think the way I covered it, it also talked about what may have happened. So although I'm not saying we would have had a $25,000 price, because this one, DGAZF, was a very low, much more smaller float, but I think there was certainly a possibility of getting over $1,000 for MMTLP. So let's now move on and have a look at MMTLP in terms of the current status. So if we look at here, the halt code is still U3, so we don't have any deletion and we don't have a D1 code. According to FINRA, so far they have not deleted this, so something's going on. Why haven't they deleted it if they are saying it's halted? Because it has been a considerable amount of time now. So we look at the date there, the 9th of December 2022. It's been halted but not deleted. But can you give us an update? What's going on? And why has there been no update for MMTLP? The next thing I'd like to do is provide an update in terms of what's happening with Erin, and we have a follow-up meeting scheduled for Monday, and hopefully we can provide an update for her on Monday, and also see if there is a possibility of getting a story out. So I know she is very busy, and I know she is going through the due diligence and research and information provided. But let's now go through part 4 of your MMTLP stories, which I think it's important to be heard. So remember, these stories were initially shared in terms of a post for people to add in and provide us with. These have now been passed on to Erin, so she will be going through these. Well, let's have a look at the next story here that I'm going to share with you. So this person is a nurse in pediatrics and providing as a single income person for the family. His wife stays at home with their bio child. So he realized an opportunity that was there available to provide for the family. He enjoys his job at a children's hospital, but it does not provide obviously room in terms of significant income, and he's on a budget, single income, and obviously blessed with a child, as we've seen. And in terms of the family, they have connections with a company that digs water wells, and he was looking to look at the returns from MMTLP to make a sizable donation to the work that the company does, and it costs approximately $2,800 for a well, and hopefully was looking to provide about 10 of these wells. So we know the halt happened. We know that this is the person is saying it's a selfish motive of market makers that overall change this. The rules seem to apply only to regular investors and not to those behind the scenes in the market. So certainly agree with that. Second story is very short, quick, simple one. This is a 73-year-old cancer survivor who planned to retire after sailing MMTLP and is now still working. So again, and the final one story that I'm going to share today is from a person who states in 2020 his wife found themselves at USCD La Jolla staring at an ultrasound result, 10-pound ovarian mass. Was in tears. She names the damn thing. I think that damn thing may be a child, Napoleon, because Napoleon was a loser. I'm not sure why, but he made the decision right there to become a nurse and a caretaker 24/7 for the duration, knowing that if she died, I would have nothing. So look, taking the negative or the pessimistic point of view, he's got no job, no money, no friends, really deserving that title. Very unlikely I would have no home, and of course no wife. So certainly not a good outcome here. No 401k, because the last several $1,000s left went into, guess what? Well, I'm guessing MMTLP. So yes, Linda died horribly, but believing that everything she had left, that I was going to be okay. So obviously this person knew what was going to happen in terms of the personal story there. God smiled upon us for once. Then, well, we had the U3 halt. So God is obviously, you know, in terms of what should have happened, but then what did happen was the U3 halt. So instead of being able to focus on recovery, this person is still struggling on a lot more than he can actually share. He's currently flying a cardboard sign Off the ramp of the I-225 East Colfax, begging for change from cars passing by in Aurora, CO. He's currently aged 53, wasn't left with nothing. The love, hope, the will to fight, the strength of the woman who had the courage to look into the ultrasound at death, crack a joke because she knew I was devastated. So those things persist in me, and he's going to be goddamned if he gives up without one hell of a fight. So credit to you, my friend. The fight will continue. Obviously there was an update yesterday from the SEC Occupy 2023 yesterday. And I am a little bit disappointed that Gary didn't come out to speak to the peaceful protesters and give us some answers. I finally like to finish off by giving a quick review of our weekly watch list. This is something shared in advance to the Discord members exclusively prior to trading on the Monday, so not all calls are successful, but this week we have had some good calls. The first one was ResF. That was up in excess of 8%. GNS we also called, it was up 15% on the week, extremely volatile. There was a great opportunity to get a return of 69% on that at one point on the Monday. We also called out MULN, that was up 7%, but certainly it should have gone up much more. Mara we called, but that finished level. COSM was also on our list, that was up 37%, so congratulations to everybody who did well in that. APPN, if you remember, this is a stock that we have been calling out for a while due to significant insider ownership. We also looked at Tesla to potentially beat earnings, and we know Tesla probably had the best week for a long time, up in excess of 31%. And I personally also invested in Tesla when it was at $108, so significant return on that so far. So I think Tesla has a great future. And finally, thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.